Yeah, yeah. We back in it. Ho, is you daft? I'm just gonna master my craft. I got my team at my side, controlling the tide, and you in a raft. No grip on your path, you here for the ride, but know you might crash. I know you won't try it, yes I did the math. You not trying to clash, and I have to laugh.
Yo. What's up, y'all? We watching the 5 most disturbing cave-in videos. See, I didn't know if I was gonna watch this one, but then I remember that trend where they was just sliding through there and they was like, we're gonna fit through this hole. You know what I'm saying? Pause. Pause. But yeah. So let's see what it's talking about. Let's really get into it for real. Let me cut this, John. Get into it,
On
man.
May 6, 2019, YouTuber Connor Kelly posted a video of him exploring
Scoot
an
up.
abandoned McCoy gold mine in the Nevada
See,
desert.
like, why
However,
you
what was supposed to be nothing more than a fun adventure with his family quickly turned into
fun
a
adventure with
disturbing
your family?
experience.
When I think of mines, I be thinking like abandoned ones, like it's going to cave in on me or something, bro.
One that would
The
likely
only holes
stay
on.
with the group for the rest of their lives.
It's a little sun. Why the sun going first?
The exploration of this mine started off quite normal, with the group staying silent to avoid causing an accidental cave-in, as seen by the text they put on screen.
Okay, it's a little
However,
calm
after
in
about
there.
a minute and a half of treading deeper into the mine, Connor noticed something strangely reflective on the path ahead.
So, do you see that reflection? They're trying to.
That's something brave.
Oh,
What is that?
oh. Okay, wait.
Twin.
Move, Wyatt.
Twin. I don't remember. I don't remember there ever being animals wearing shoes or fossils having shoes though. Maybe fossils, but not like sneakers. But it's like, why is there shoes in there? Is that a predator? And I'm not talking about Tiger. Is that a predator's cave? They need to put me like as a PI or something. You know, some type of detective. All right.
What they found reflecting back at them was a shoe, amongst many more, in a massive pile with random bones scattered
No. No.
throughout.
Well, that's a bone right there.
Keep your composure.
Actually, there's quite a few bones.
Why you ain't lead yet?
in this.
What
Actually,
made
there's
this
quite a
pile
few
even more
bones.
odd was the sheer variety of shoes on display. Many of them were clearly very modern, while some were models that were released over 30 years ago. How could such a random assortment of shoes end up in an abandoned gold mine in the middle of nowhere? Things took an
What's
even
on Doc
darker
Marius?
turn when the group ventured further into the cave and found a bunch of bones, including a relatively intact spine.
So this is water.
Bro, somebody was in there carving them and just eating them off the bone. Like, that's actually crazy, bro. What is that?
It is gonna be great.
See that over there? What is that?
So we can't trust this.
Yeah, why are y'all still walking deep in there? Call the police or something. I don't even mess with toilet.
By this point, the group was growing increasingly
Come on, man.
unsettled by these disturbing discoveries, prompting them to leave the cave as quickly as possible. And that's where the original video ends, without any explanation or resolution. Connor didn't provide any more information in the video's description or in the comments. He posted 4 more videos after this, but none of these videos included any updates on the disturbing encounter either. So, what's going on here? One of the first things that comes to mind is that this mine was the collection spot for a serial killer. This would explain both
Exactly.
the shoes and the bones. A top comment on the video also backs this theory, stating, "If you ever listen to the Missing 411 videos, you know shoes are a major component of
Whew.
missing or abducted
I didn't get
people.
chills
This sent chills
until
down
they
my
just
spine."
confirmed it, bro. I don't know what just went down my spine. Hope he not in here, but that's actually crazy.
Which is true. A statistical analysis of the missing 411 data shows that over 15% of the cases involve absent shoes. However, this theory isn't entirely likely. For starters, I couldn't find any news reports regarding this mysterious pile of shoes, which is odd since judging from the number of shoes, this supposed killer would have had hundreds of victims. If this pile had such a violent history, it probably wouldn't go unnoticed by the media. More importantly, many people on the internet agree that the bones in the video are not human. The group in the video reaches the same conclusion
Okay.
when looking at
That
the
makes it
bones for
better.
the
That makes
first
it better.
time.
No, it looks like a cow or a horse. Way too big.
Alien or something. Eating humans,
Put simply,
throwing their
the
shoes
odds
to
of
the
this being
side.
a serial killer trophy cave are very low. But given the animal bones scattered throughout the area, it's possible it was the feeding spot of a predator like a mountain lion. Though, while that might explain the bones, it offers no clues about the pile of shoes.
Yeah.
One theory I haven't seen anyone else bring up is that the shoes might have ended up there because of flooding. You see, the McCoy mine where the video was filmed is located in Lander County. And from what I can find, that area is quite prone to flooding.
No.
So,
See, what happened was, I think it was a serial killer, but the jaguar or whatever that may be was its pet. See what I'm saying? See where I'm going with this? So they was working together to get the people, or he was just staying there with his pet, and that's all his shoes. You know what I'm saying? Over the time, like he was really like a caveman for real. So I don't know, bro. Don't listen to me.
it's entirely possible that someone dumped their sneaker collection in the middle of nowhere to get rid of it, only for it to be carried in the abandoned mine with rainwater. A mountain lion could have moved in later, which would explain the bones. The only proof I have of this theory is that the ground in the deepest part of the mine is extremely wet and has water flow marks leading into it. Other than that, it's pure speculation. That said, another potential explanation for both the bones and the shoes is that Connor placed them there himself in hopes of creating a viral video. People on the internet have pointed out that the bones in the video are a bit too clean for something left in a muddy cave by a predator.
But that's
Some have
a
also
lie,
claimed that
though.
a few of the bones look like they're inorganic fabrications. Another inconsistency in Connor's video is that he and his group keep claiming that all the shoes in the pile are kid-sized.
There's no doll shoes in there. There are no doll shoes.
Yeah, it might be
He even
fake, right?
mentioned that in the video's title, which reads, "Kids' Shoes and Bones Found in Abandoned Mine." Now, while that makes an already creepy situation even more disturbing, it's simply not true.
Building a
There are
narrative.
plenty of adult
Yeah, it
size
does
shoes
look
visible
big.
in this pile. Unfortunately, I doubt we'll ever know what happened here for sure. It's been 6 years since
It
the
be-
video was
it be
uploaded,
always
and
the
as I mentioned
Connors.
earlier, Connor has vanished completely from the internet ever since. Action Adventure Twins is a YouTube channel run by brothers James and Edward. The duo has been exploring dangerous and crammed caves since early 2020.
They don't really look alike.
Yet, despite their combined experience, one of them almost lost his life back in 2022. In January of that year, the two decided to explore the popular Petty John's Cave in Georgia. They had already explored parts of this maze-like cave multiple times before,
Oh,
and had
it
even
look
found
cool
an
in there.
underground waterfall during one of their expeditions.
Petty
Put
John's
simply,
Cave.
they were pretty confident in their ability to navigate through this cave. But unlike their previous ventures, this time they were going to tackle one of the hardest sections, the aptly named Nervous Breakdown, referring to how cavers feel when going through it. Things started off just as expected, with the pair going through the narrow.
That's
and
the name of the
claustrophobic
cave, and you
entrance to reach
decided
the
to keep
first
going.
open area of the Petty John's Cave.
I might be claustrophobic.
Entrance room.
However, it didn't take long for the cave to begin closing back again, forcing the two to squeeze through tiny passageways.
No.
But that was
See,
only the beginning.
I might be
After about
claustrophobic, bro.
25 minutes of crawling through increasingly tighter spaces, they reached the first big obstacle, a muddy room with a narrow and steep hole in the middle. They had to carefully walk around this hole to progress. A single slip and falling into the narrow hole and possibly getting injured. And given the lack of safe footing around the
Yeah,
hole,
getting
it would have
stuck
been
in
near
there.
impossible for the other person to pull them
That's
out.
not a hole. I'm sorry.
After successfully navigating around this obstacle, they finally arrived at the entrance to Nervous Breakdown. Unfortunately for them, things weren't looking good. The area surrounding this entrance had collapsed some time ago, making it very difficult to figure out the path ahead. After looking around for a bit, Edward eventually found the real entrance and was excited to go in. He genuinely couldn't wait to find out what was down there and began his descent, leaving his brother behind in case something bad happened. What he didn't realize was that this was about to be one of the worst decisions he'd ever make. Because after descending for a few minutes, Edward called for his brother, only to be met with complete silence.
I found a rope.
Nope. That's a nervous breakdown for real.
Huh.
Oh, fuck no.
I don't hear James anymore. Uh-oh.
I found a
In
rope.
other words, Edward was now lost in an unknown section of the cave without any means of contacting his brother. At first, he tried to stay calm and continued his
Yeah,
descent,
walkie-talkies
hoping to
or
find
nothing.
James before long. However, after staying separated for over 30 minutes, the realization set in. He knew panic was the fastest way to make a bad situation worse, but at this point, he couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease.
Why is he following the rope, though? That is not your rope, twin. Dang.
James! James!
This is not my...
It's been
Type
like
of
30
scene,
minutes
though.
since I saw him. I don't even know where I'm at. I tried to go back to the last place I saw him. And everything just looks the same. It's just a jumble maze. We should have never split up.
After calling out to James many times with no luck, he decided to retrace his steps and find
How
a way
James
back.
feeling? James don't got no camera?
Unfortunately, he had underestimated the difficulty of the maze he was about to enter. Every direction looked the same. The narrow passages and jagged walls made it impossible to tell where he had come from.
Not
To
for real.
top it all off, his situation was getting worse with each step he took. If he went the wrong way, he could easily wedge himself into a passage too tight to
Somebody
escape,
drawing.
or worse, plunge into a hidden drop-off. This is the true horror of caving. Even if he didn't injure himself, he could have just as easily wandered around
Oh.
aimlessly until his body gave way into exhaustion, leaving him lifeless
That
in a
is-
cold, rocky crevice. The footage of him excitedly dropping into the nervous breakdown entrance would have ended with the camera recording his descent into confusion, fear, and eventually silence. Fortunately, that wasn't the end of his story. After going in loops for a while, Edward spotted a single piece of tape he saw on his way down.
Oh,
Let's go.
the tape. Yeah. Okay, this tape looks familiar. Oh, yeah. This has got to be the way.
He clutched for that tape. Or whoever put that there.
I'm getting close. James! Still nothing.
This unexpected clue turned out to be
The
exactly what he needed.
the
It helped him
uncomfort
regain his bearings
that I
and
got to
finally head in
be
the right
just
direction.
squeezing my body
Finally,
through
he
those
heard the
little
best
like
sound he could have
crevices,
heard
bro.
in that moment.
Pause, but it's just like
James!
that's just
Oh. You're over here? Oh. Dude.
I'm never caving at that again. I'm done. I'm done. It's my last one.
Oh, hey, I see your light. Dude. I thought we were never gonna see each other. Dude, I know. Oh.
The two stayed together for the rest of the expedition and made it out alive without any major injuries. They're still exploring caves on YouTube,
Tripping.
but now with a lot more caution.
Okay. So that's not them in the
January
shape though.
2014,
You
a
already
group
know.
of cave explorers decided to conquer the Lost John's Cave in Lancashire, England. It's a vast cave network that spans a length of nearly 3 miles, or 4.8 kilometers. The known deepest section of this cave also goes down a staggering 690 feet, or 211 meters. Most members of this group had been spelunking for years, and like most other cave
Spelunking?
explorers, were quite confident in their skills.
Spur,
They
spur.
had also done their research and mapped out their route in advance.
What's wrong?
But the truth about caving is when things go wrong, no amount of planning can save
A
you.
wet cave even worse, bro. You gonna slip.
Well-prepared explorers
You-
can find themselves in terrifying
Good.
situations.
You know what I'm saying?
Which is exactly what happened to one of the members of this group, named Bob Johnson. The expedition was going quite smoothly in the beginning, with the group using the equipment they brought with them to continue safely. That is, until they reached a section of the cave called the Tube. It was an unusually narrow section that required the cavers to crawl on their stomach.
No.
And to make matters worse, it
See?
was also partially submerged in water, making it
What do you mean required them to? Bro, I'm going back. I'm walking all the way back, crawling, whatever I gotta do to go back to the entrance. Cause there's no way. There's no way I'm going through a place they call the tube with just water, bro. I'm gonna be on my knees. Oh no. 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 I don't be
Able to
understanding
both
what's the
see
point of this.
and breathe. Despite these harsh conditions, the group decided to move ahead. The slimmest member of the group went first and successfully made it to the other side without much trouble.
You
The
see,
next person, however,
it's
wasn't
that
as
much
fortunate.
space that he's
This
going
was Bob
through.
Johnson, the man we mentioned earlier. His crawl through the tube wasn't off to a good start, as he was already having issues with the comparatively wider sections of the passage.
Huh? Man, go get stuck in the tube, bro. It's not even Shadow. It's just Bob, bro.
He then somehow managed to reach the tightest part of this treacherous section, but that's where his luck ran out.
And the water flowing, bro. I'll start. Nah, I had to keep it P if there's like people in there watching. I'm on
He
camera.
was
Yeah, I'm
completely
gonna bite.
stuck from the waist down, and any attempt to free himself
We on
only
camera. I'm gonna bite. It's not even that serious, bro. I'll squeeze out. Throw me some Vaseline. Like, I'm not even reacting for real. But as soon as they turn off the camera, bro, I'm screaming. I am screaming. What are you talking about?
made the situation worse. Now, being stuck in a narrow cave like this is extremely stressful on its own.
Put
The
yourself
walls
in that
close in on
position.
you, and every movement feels like it's pushing you further into the tight space. Panic sets in as you realize just how little room you have to maneuver, and with each failed attempt to free
Imagine your
yourself,
limb
the
fall
fear
asleep, bro.
intensifies. But as if the confined space wasn't enough to make his heart race, Bob now had to contend with something far more terrifying: the rapidly flowing water. Water makes any caving venture 10 times worse. In
I
a
can
dry
tell.
cave, even if
That's
you're
literally
stuck,
what I
you
was
still have
saying.
time to think and plan your escape. But when water starts to rise, the situation shifts from bad to life-threatening. The feeling of water creeping up around you in an already claustrophobic space is a nightmare on its own. The real danger with water, however, is that you have mere minutes before drowning becomes a very real possibility. Bob knew this possibility all too well. He gave his all to free himself. Unfortunately, the water was quickly filling up his suit, making it even more difficult to squeeze through. But when the situation seemed hopeless, one of the members had an idea that ended up saving Bob's life. Instead of pushing forward, the members behind him tried pulling him back, and it worked.
Let's go, Bob. Never go caving again, Spelunker.
Bob was finally free, though his troubles weren't over. He later revealed in a comment that him and the two members who pulled him back had crawled for another 3 hours to get out of the cave from a different
Oh,
exit.
belly crawling
This
in 8
incident
inches
also
of
left him
water.
traumatized to the point where you can't even watch this video without becoming anxious. From what I can find, he scaled back on caving and picked up a much safer hobby in cycling, and now appears to be doing just fine.
Yo, Bob a real one though, cause he just like me for real. I am not caving again after that. Real stuff.
On the 7th of September 2024, the Action Adventure Twins YouTube channel posted a video exploring a mysterious cave someone found on their property. This is the same channel we talked about earlier, where the two brothers got separated and almost lost their lives in the maze-like
Okay.
cave. They've learned their lessons since and approached this one with far more caution. But with an entrance as life-threatening as this one, even the best
Bro,
precautions
don't tell me it's that
proved
hole
to
right
be
there,
enough.
bro.
Alright, so the guy dropped us off halfway up the hill, and
Say y'all got it, bro.
he doesn't know anybody who's been down this thing, but we were at the cave. He says he threw a rope down it with a rock and it was 200 feet deep before it stopped. So we got this stick here. We're gonna see if our rope reaches. It's still, oh, you were right, it kept going.
This alone is enough to terrify most people, with one person stating, "This channel has given me a new fear about walking in the woods. The fact that you could just slip and fall down a hole like that is insane.
Not
Now
for
every
real.
time I go anywhere, I wonder
Why
how
are
many
you
massive
doing
holes are right
this?
below my feet that I could fall into
He
at
said,
any moment." But that
"It's
didn't
still
deter Edward
going."
and James. They quickly
Not
secured
going
their
down
rope
there,
to a
bruh.
nearby tree and began descending into the steep cave.
Oh, that is deep
What
though.
they found inside was nothing short of breathtaking. That tiny opening gave way to a vast chasm.
Oh wow.
That's beautiful though. I'm not gonna lie.
This is a big one, man.
However, before they could fully take in the beauty of the cavern, things took a dark turn. Just seconds into the cave, the two discovered what looked like human remains scattered throughout.
That's comforting. Human bones, huh? Look how big they are. Dude, look behind you. There's like a little shrine of them. There's like, oh, that's a cranium.
No,
Dude, is that a human?
turn back.
Nah, I don't know.
And you gonna grab it?
Really round.
Never grab remains. Y'all tripping. Y'all
Looks human,
y'all
man.
overly tripping.
That
Oh
doesn't
nah.
necessarily I don't know. I'm not a bone expert.
He said that's a
From there,
cranium?
they continued exploring the cave as it kept getting bigger the further they went into it. They
Oh,
also discovered
twin.
old caving equipment like ropes and harnesses already secured to the walls, a detail that only deepened the mystery surrounding the bones they had found earlier. If they did belong to a person, as the two suspected, it was possible they belonged to a previous
one-
explorer. This explorer likely had an accident and died in the cave without ever making it out. On their way in, they did find scattered bones right below the entrance. These were likely the remains of people who accidentally fell into the otherwise unassuming hole. However, the
Nah, you
bones they
fall in
found
there,
from the
though,
inside were
you're
too
not
far from the
healing. How you
entrance
gonna
to
get out?
belong to someone who simply fell in. It's also possible that these remains belong to the victim of a deranged killer. Someone who either had ended a person's life within the cave, or maybe threw the person into the hole and later dragged their body further into the cave. Some people, however, weren't convinced and accused the brothers of faking the whole
So
thing,
fake.
especially since the way Edward and James handled some of these remains felt a bit too casual.
That's what I'm
That
saying.
said, while YouTubers faking these finds to get a viral video isn't uncommon, this one turned out to be true. The video received several comments from experts confirming that these remains were indeed real and human, with one such
Ooh.
person writing, "My girlfriend and I are watching from Canada. We're both paramedics. Definitely a human femur.
As soon as
and
I
a
would have
human
saw some
cranium."
remains, I'm
But
out that
this raised
John.
an even bigger
I'm
question.
out. I'm
When did
dipping
the owner of these
that
bones
way.
pass away? If they disappeared
Back
into
up.
the cave in the last few decades, this discovery could end up cracking an unsolved case. I ended up contacting the action-adventure twins to see what they had to say or if they had made any police reports afterwards. We ended up contacting the authorities about the bones. They were determined to be human and were apparently a Native American that either slipped and fell into the pit cave or was thrown in there after death and are 2,000 years old. While this
2000 is
did rule out
crazy.
the possibility that these bones belonged to someone more recent, the despair of whoever ended up in that cave alone 2,000 years ago is just as impossible to ignore. They likely fell into the cave, somehow survived the fall.
You playing
and
hide and
ended up
seek,
starving
twin.
to
You
death
playing
while
hide and
looking for
seek.
a way
You
out.
running. You slip into a hole. You're done for. Native American, 2,000 years ago.
On October 28,
What you gonna do?
2004, 50-year-old Australian airline pilot and scuba diver David John Shaw broke
You
the
can't even
world
yell
record
to
for the
get
deepest
out, bruh.
successful dive in
You
history.
can't even yell.
He achieved this by reaching a
Help
depth of 207
me.
meters in Bushman's Hole, one of the deepest
not hearing you.
freshwater caves in the world. The sole purpose of this dive was to break the record. However, when he reached the bottom, he found something that stopped him in his tracks. He found the body of Dion Dreyer, a 20-year-old scuba diver who died in that cave 10 years ago. Since humans start sinking after a certain depth, Dion's body never floated back to the surface. Given the extreme difficulty and danger of diving this deep, any plans to retrieve his body were also canceled
So
at the
any
time
type
his
of deep
death.
diving,
However,
caving,
a plaque in his
any of
name
that
was
stuff is
installed
on the
near
list.
diving point of Bushman's Hole, which is how Dave knew what he was looking at. After staring at the body in shock for a few seconds,
sad,
Dave
bro.
immediately got closer and tried to retrieve Dion. Unfortunately, after a decade in the water, his tanks were firmly stuck in the mud. More importantly, Dave had already spent too much time at that depth. Staying any longer would have been fatal. So he decided to tie a line to Dion's body and return to the surface with the newfound information.
Wasn't very steep.
Hopefully his family was still alive. That's good that he tied it to his body. How you can get him,
The end of going deep.
give him proper burial.
So just tied my line to it. And by then I was, well, we won't discuss that. So I just left my line.
The news of Dion's body being discovered spread quickly, eventually culminating in Dave talking to his parents and promising to retrieve it. After a couple months of preparation, the next dive was scheduled for January 8th, 2005.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Dave's heroic attempt to bring closure to Dion's parents ended in a catastrophe far worse than anyone could have imagined. Cave diving, aka underwater cave exploration, is far more dangerous than regular spelunking.
Obviously,
The divers
bro.
have to manage their oxygen levels at all times, avoid often sharp rock formations, and explore the cave system.
That look like it'll impale you.
Because even the brightest flashlights aren't as effective underwater, all while making sure they don't get lost. Add in the immense pressure of 270 meters of water above, it becomes an almost insurmountable challenge, one that only a handful of people on the planet are capable of overcoming. So, everything needed to be perfect for Dave's operation to succeed. He worked with police divers, the defense force, and medics to ensure everything went smoothly, and they planned the dive second by second.
Okay.
According to the plan, Dave would use the line he tied earlier to reach Dion's body. After cutting it loose and putting it in a special body bag, he would begin his descent. This descent would have taken around 12 hours to avoid decompression sickness. So instead of holding on to Dion's body the entire time, Dave would pass it along to his longtime friend Don Shirley at 220 meters. Don would then hand it over to support divers located at various depths and keep checking on Dave for any issues. Sadly, this is not how it went. An hour and a half after the dive began, the surface crew received an ominous message from the support divers, claiming that they hadn't seen any activity from Dave or Don. Shortly after, another message reached the surface. This one was from Don, stating that he's seeing Dave in the distance, and he's not moving.
Don's okay.
Don's okay.
Dave's looking
While
That's
this message
sad.
was making its way to the surface, Don tried to reach Dave himself. He exceeded his target depth, which resulted in his rebreather controller imploding. This also led to him suffering from oxygen poisoning and vomiting while 220 meters under the water. Fortunately, he managed to keep hold of the line and was eventually pulled out of the water still breathing. Dave, however, didn't make it. But when rescue teams pulled out his body, they made a shocking discovery. Dion's body was attached to the recovery line as well. Following the recovery, investigators looked at the footage captured by the waterproof camera mounted on Dave's head. This is what they saw. Though I should mention, I couldn't find the raw footage from that camera. The only clip of it online is narrated by Don himself, Dave's best friend who we
That's
just talked
sad,
about, who
bro.
almost died trying
Rest
to
in
save his
peace.
life. The footage shows Dave moving alongside the line to find Dion's body, and then trying to put it in the bag. Unfortunately, this is where the plan started falling apart. Dion's body was unexpectedly loose from the mud and was moving around uncontrollably. Dave tried to complete his mission despite this, only to end up getting tangled in the line.
This line is just getting everywhere because this body is floating. It's not stuck. Everything's moving. Right, light gets caught on the line there. Move it out of the way. Still got a nice bright light.
All this effort caused him to neglect his gauges, resulting in Dave feeling the effects of nitrogen narcosis, which include poor judgment, trouble concentrating, and reduced muscle and nerve function. Put simply, he lost everything he needed to survive at that depth. He tried to cut the tangled line, but the lack of coordination made it near impossible. As he was struggling to stay conscious, the last thing he saw was the terrifying view of Dion's lifeless face mask staring back at him. Shortly after this,
Bro, why did
Dave
this
passed
get so
away.
scary, bro? I haven't
The
said
silver
nothing.
lining was that the tangled line kept Dion's body close to Dave,
Unlocking
allowing
new
him to
fears in John.
successfully complete his mission by recovering the body, only at the cost of his own life.
Man, that's how you gonna end it? Who is this guy? Who is this guy? That was chilling, man. Like, come on, bro. Actually, it was pretty good. Like, I ain't think we
Ian
got
on
too
YouTube.
many on this one. But yeah. Appreciate y'all, man. It's like, never go caving, spelunking, any of that. Bro, you seen what happened. Rest in peace to my guy, Dave, man. The other guy, man. Y'all stay safe out there, man. Watch what holes y'all getting into. But I hope y'all enjoyed the video, man. Y'all tap into the next one. I'm going to see you guys next time. Hope y'all enjoy. Subscribe.
We ain't friends, we ain't buds. Tough luck, yeah, I'm different than I was. Puff, puff, I'm just looking for a buzz. Up, up, and away I go. We ain't friends, we ain't buds. Tough luck, yeah, I'm different than I was. Puff, puff, I'm just looking